Takes us to 11:19, Councillor Coorey. Just your microphone on, please, Councillor.
I move that Council adopt the recommendations and findings outlined in the letter sent to the Council supporting the heritage listing of St Paul's Church in central Bankstown by heritage consultants Dr Sue Rosen and Jeff Ashley in the August 2023 report, and those expressed in the heritage assessment conducted by the 20th Century Heritage Specialist Dr Roy Lumbey and by Bankstown historian Dr Sue Rosen of Sue Rosen and Associates in 2015. 2. Council write urgently to the Heritage Council and Department of Planning urging immediate heritage listing of St Paul's and its grounds on the basis that it is culturally significant as stated in the 2016 report Statement of Significance.
Seconded. Councillor Platt.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Look, Mr Mayor, I'm still horrified that the department has not seen fit to heritage list this very, very special site. And I'm horrified that the head of the Anglican Church, who does have a migrant background himself, has not seen it fit to safeguard our War Memorial Church of St Paul's, Anglican Church at Bankstown. I'm seeking Council support to adopt the recommendations and findings outlined in the letter sent to the Council supporting the heritage listing of this church by Sue Rosen and Jeff Ashley, and those expressed in the heritage assessment conducted by the 20th Century Heritage Specialist Dr Roy Lumbey and by the Bankstown historian Dr Sue Rosen. The report was followed by a supplementary report in 2016. At the time, the findings of both reports were supported by Council's own planning staff and subject to additional reviews which also supported its findings. The church and its associated buildings are physical evidence of the development of 20th century Bankstown as shaped by its community. Raised with local funds, designed by Norman McPherson, a recognised celestial architect of some distinction, with its furnishings donated by leading members of the community such as the English and Fitzpatrick families. Numerous memorials can be found in the church and its grounds. The precinct of St Paul's is locally historically significant due to its capacity to demonstrate the historical themes of towns, suburbs and villages, creative endeavour, religion and birth and death. It has local historic associative significance due to its association with both prominent and less prominent Bankstownians, with that association documented on the walls, in the windows and the furniture and the fitting of the church. Look, I'm not going to go on any further, Mr Mayor, other than to say that this particular architect, his buildings have been heritage listed all over New South Wales. For example, the Mossman Uniting Church and Hall at 38 Balmoral Road, Mossman, the Uniting Church group comprising of the church, the personage and the fence at 134 Waggonga Street, Narramoon in the Eurobodalla Shire, the All Saints Cathedral group at Bathurst, and there's also some shops in Lakemba, in Halden Street, Lakemba, that have also been associated with McPherson. It's a very, very sad day when the head of a church does not recognise the significance of a particular church and the heritage significance of their church. I mean, I know that the Maronite Church, the head of the Maronite Church, sees heritage very, very significantly, and you know, we're fighting tooth and nail to stop the development behind the church at Harris Park, and yet here they're looking at demolishing a church. I just can't see. I just cannot. I can't come to grips with the way the Anglican Church is treating heritage in this city. It's just an outrage. And they have other lands that they can develop on. It has such significance, this building, such significance. It's really, really sad. Are we that desperate to provide housing and to make money in this city that we demolish churches? What are we going to be doing next? Demolishing a mosque, demolishing a synagogue, demolishing a Buddhist temple to build housing? Because that's what we're doing. By not standing up to this church, to the Anglican Church. They have a development arm, for goodness sake. They have a property arm. It's an outrage. I'm not saying that they shouldn't, look at their asset portfolio and make the best use out of it. But this is imagine if this was a Catholic church, the outrage that would be occurring. But this is an Anglican church, and we're sitting here tonight I just ask my councillor colleagues to make a stand here, and for you, Mr. Mayor, to write to the head of the Anglican Church, pointing out the significance of this building. Perhaps he hasn't been correctly briefed, because he is the leader of this church. You know, I'm not going to remain silent on this after tonight. He is their leader. You know, it has such significance. You know, the young guys that went to church there died in the wars. You know, the history is there. There's the interment of a former priest in the altar, and that's going to be demolished. That's going to be demolished. You know, I want my council colleagues to understand the significance of that. You know, all they're looking at is high-rise here. The hierarchy of the Anglican Church, with all due respect, has lost their way. It's an outrage. And I want my council colleagues to be as outraged as I am, together with the community group that is made up of the parishioners of that Bankstown St Paul's Church. They are outraged, and we cannot let this beautiful little church be demolished and lost forever. Please, Mr. Mayor, I ask for your intervention.
Thank you, Councillor Coorey.